Discovery and First Contact. The galactic exploration vessel Horizon drifted silently through the void, its quantum engines humming at minimal power as it conducted a routine survey of what should have been empty space. Commander Saren Vos stood at the observation deck, her tall, slender frame silhouetted against the backdrop of stars. Her species, the Lynthian, were known for their analytical minds and steady temperament, traits that had served her well during her 15 cycles as commander. "Status report," Saren requested, her voice calm but authoritative. Lieutenant Krex, a Valerian with iridescent scales that shifted color with his mood, responded without looking up from his console. "All systems nominal, Commander. Routine scan of Sector 7 Gamma proceeding as planned. Nothing unusual to report." Saren nodded, satisfied. This mission was straightforward. Map the gravitational anomalies in this largely unexplored sector and return to Central Command. The Galactic Union had been expanding its territory since the Great Reconciliation 2 centuries ago, when the remaining sentient species had finally put aside their differences to explore the cosmos together. "Commander," the voice of Chief Science Officer Tilara broke through Saren's thoughts. The Axiom scientist's multifaceted eyes widened as she studied her readouts. "I'm detecting something unexpected." Saren moved swiftly to Tilara's station. "Elaborate." "A structure. Artificial. Approximately 5 kilometers in length, 2 in width. It shouldn't be here. This sector is uninhabited, has been for millennia according to our records." "On screen," Saren ordered. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a massive rectangular structure floating in space. Its surface was smooth, almost mirror-like, reflecting the stars around it. No visible seams, no obvious entry points, just a perfect, gleaming monolith suspended in the void. "Impossible," breathed Lieutenant Krex, his scales shifting to a deep blue of surprise. "Scan it," Saren commanded, her professional demeanor hiding her own astonishment. Tilara's fingers danced across her console. "Material composition, unknown. Energy readings, minimal, but present. It appears to be in some kind of dormant state. There's a pattern to the energy fluctuations, almost like..." She paused, her scientific mind struggling to find the right comparison. "Almost like breathing." "Breathing," Saren echoed, raising an eyebrow. "A metaphorical comparison only, Commander. The energy ebbs and flows in a regular pattern." Saren studied the structure. In her 15 cycles exploring the galaxy, she had encountered many wonders, but nothing quite like this. "Any markings or identifiers?" "None visible to our current scans," Tilara replied. "However, there's something unusual about the surface. It seems to be absorbing our scanning beams, then reflecting them back with subtle alterations." "It's analyzing us," said a new voice. Dr. Merrick Voss, the ship's xenorchaeologist, had arrived on the bridge unnoticed. His species, the Tauri, resembled bipedal felines, their heightened senses making them excellent researchers of ancient civilizations. "Explain," Saren requested. Merrick approached the view screen, his tail swishing thoughtfully. "This structure isn't just sitting there. It's active, responsive. The way it's processing our scans suggests an intelligent system." "Are you suggesting it's alive?" Lieutenant Krex asked incredulously. "Not alive in the biological sense," Merrick clarified, "but definitely sentient in some technological way. This isn't just advanced technology. It's beyond anything in our current understanding." Saren made a decision. "Prepare a probe. Let's get a closer look." The bridge crew worked efficiently, preparing one of their most advanced sensor probes for launch. Designed with the combined technological knowledge of 12 species, the probe represented the pinnacle of Galactic Union technology. "Probe away," announced Lieutenant Krex as the small device detached from the horizon and moved toward the mysterious structure. They watched in silence as the probe approached. As it came within 50 meters of the surface, something unexpected happened. The structure's surface rippled, like water disturbed by a gentle breeze. A beam of light, so faint it was barely visible, extended from the structure and enveloped the probe. "We're losing telemetry," Lara reported, her voice tense. "The probe's systems are being rewritten." The probe suddenly changed course, returning to the horizon with precision that suggested external control. "Seal the docking bay," Saren ordered. "Full quarantine protocols." But when the probe returned, it simply powered down. When they examined it, they found its memory banks filled with data, not random information, but precisely organized code that defied immediate analysis. "It's a message," Lara concluded after hours of study. "Or rather, an invitation." "Invitation to what?" Saren asked. "To prove ourselves worthy," Merrick interjected, studying the code alongside Lara. "This structure, it's testing us." Days passed as the Horizon's crew attempted to decipher the probe's mysterious data. Lara and her science team worked tirelessly, applying every analytical tool at their disposal. Meanwhile, Saren sent regular updates to Galactic Command, who responded with increasing interest and concern. It was during the third day of their investigation that Dr. Merrick made a startling discovery. "Commander," he called, his voice tinged with disbelief. "You need to see this." Saren joined him in the science lab, where holographic projections displayed fragments of the mysterious code. "I've been comparing the structural patterns with every known civilization in our historical database," Merrick explained. "There's only one match, and it's statistically impossible." "Explain," Saren requested, her patience wearing thin. Merrick took a deep breath. "The structure is human in origin." The declaration hung in the air, met with stunned silence. Humans, Earth's dominant species, had vanished from the galactic stage over 15,000 cycles ago. While their brief presence had left an indelible mark on galactic history, they were now little more than a historical footnote, a cautionary tale of a species that had reached too far, too fast. "That's not possible," Lieutenant Krex said, echoing everyone's thoughts. "Humans were a primitive species that barely achieved interstellar travel before their extinction. They couldn't have created something like this." And yet, Merrick countered, "the evidence is conclusive. The mathematical constants, the design philosophy, even the base coding language. It all bears the unmistakable signature of human engineering, albeit far more advanced than anything recorded in our historical archives." Saren processed this information with typical Linthian composure. "Assuming you're correct, what does this structure want from us?" "I believe it's a vault," Merrick suggested. "A repository of human knowledge, perhaps their legacy, protected until someone worthy comes along to access it." "Worthy by whose standards?" Saren asked. "Human standards, presumably," Merrick replied. "Which explains why none of our technologies can penetrate it. It wasn't designed to respond to any civilization we know. It was designed to respond to humanity's unique approach to problem solving." Before they could discuss further, Lieutenant Krex interrupted. "Commander, we're detecting multiple ships entering the sector. They appear to have received our transmission to Galactic Command." Saren frowned. The transmission had been encrypted, meant only for the highest levels of command. "Identify." 7 vessels in total. 3 Zephyrian research ships, 2 Valerian cruisers, a Tauri expedition vessel, and— He paused, his scales shifting to a worried purple, a Creel warship. The mood on the bridge darkened. The Creel were the newest members of the Galactic Union, warriors who had reluctantly joined for economic reasons rather than shared ideals. Their interest in ancient technology was well known and typically destructive. "Open a channel to all approaching vessels," Saren ordered. "Remind them that we claimed this discovery under Union Protocol 7 Alpha, and any interference will be reported to the Council." But she knew it wouldn't be that simple. The human vault, if that's what it was, represented the most significant archaeological find in centuries. Every species would want access, each for their own reasons. As the first of the approaching ships came into visual range, The vault suddenly pulsed with energy, its surface rippling more vigorously than before. Patterns of light danced across its previously featureless exterior, forming complex geometric designs that shifted and evolved with hypnotic complexity. "It's responding to the increased presence," Tilara observed, "almost as if it's waking up." Merrick finished for her. The vault's energy readings spiked dramatically, and for a brief moment, a shape appeared on its surface, a simple circle with a line drawn vertically through it. The ancient human symbol for power. "It's beginning," Merrick whispered. "Whatever test the humans designed, it's starting now." As more ships arrived, diplomatic tensions quickly escalated. The Horizon's bridge became a center of heated negotiation as representatives from each vessel demanded access to the vault. The Zephyrians argued for a scientific approach, the Valerians for caution, the Tauri for historical respect. The Creel, predictably, suggested more direct methods. "This human relic belongs to whoever can open it," declared the Creel representative, Commander Thraz, his holographic image dominating the Horizon's communication display. "And the Creel Empire has methods that your scientists have not considered." Before Saren could respond diplomatically, the vault pulsed again, this time projecting a three-dimensional hologram into space, a series of complex mathematical equations that rotated slowly, visible to all the assembled ships. "It's communicating," Tilara said unnecessarily. "But these equations, they're incomplete," Merrick noted. "It's not giving us answers. It's giving us a problem to solve." Saren understood immediately. "The first test," she said quietly. As the various ships began analyzing the mathematical challenge, Saren withdrew to her private quarters. There, away from the watchful eyes of her crew and the representatives of other species, she accessed a secure compartment hidden within her personal terminal, a compartment containing information not found in any Galactic Union database. Inside was a single data crystal, passed down through generations of her family. According to family legend, her distant ancestor had received it from one of the last humans before their disappearance. The crystal contained not historical records or technological specifications, but something far more valuable: insight into how humans thought. If the vault truly was testing them based on human standards, then understanding human thinking might be the key to unlocking its secrets. And in the race that was now beginning, the Horizon would need every advantage it could get. Deciphering and revelation. "We need a different approach," Commander Saren announced to her senior staff. The situation around the human vault had deteriorated over the past 2 days. 17 vessels now surrounded the structure, each attempting their own solution to the mathematical challenge it had presented. Some had resorted to brute force computational methods, while others employed elaborate quantum algorithms. None had succeeded. "The Creel are preparing something," Lieutenant Krex reported, his scales shifting to a wary orange. "Their warship has deployed what appears to be a dimensional resonance cannon. If they fire it at the vault..." "They're fools," Dr. Merrick hissed, his feline features tense with anger. "Such a weapon could destabilize the entire region." Saren nodded grimly. "We need to solve this puzzle before the Creel take matters into their own hands. Lieutenant Tilara, report on our progress." The science officer's multifaceted eyes dimmed slightly, the axiom equivalent of a frown. "Our computational approach is yielding no results. The equations appear simple on the surface, but contain variables that shift according to patterns we cannot predict." "Because we're approaching this from a non-human perspective," a new voice interjected. All heads turned toward the doorway where Dr. Mary Nevin stood. The xenolinguistics specialist had been a last-minute addition to the Horizon's crew, assigned just before their departure from Central Command. Small for a human hybrid, with copper-colored skin and eyes that seemed to change color with her mood, Mary was the product of genetic engineering. 1/4 human DNA combined with Linthian genetics to create a specialist in understanding extinct languages and thought patterns. "Explain," Saren requested, gesturing for Mary to join them. Mary approached the holographic display where the vault's equations rotated slowly. "We're treating this as a mathematical problem. But what if it's actually a linguistic one? Humans often embedded cultural references in their scientific work. Cultural references in mathematics. Lieutenant Krex asked skeptically. Mathematics is universal. The principles are universal, Mary corrected. But the expression of those principles can be culturally specific. Look at these variables here and here. She pointed to two symbols that seem to shift between different mathematical notations. They're not random. They're following a pattern based on human musical scales. Music? T-Lara's confusion was evident. What does music have to do with mathematics? For humans, everything. Mary explained. They saw patterns everywhere, connections between seemingly unrelated fields. This isn't just a test of our computational ability. It's a test of our ability to think like humans. Saren studied Mary with newfound interest. Perhaps this was why Central Command had insisted on adding her to the crew at the last moment. What do you suggest, Doctor? Let me work with the equations using human musical theory as a framework. And she hesitated briefly. I need access to any human cultural data we have on board. Saren made a quick decision. Granted. Work with Dr. Merrick and Lieutenant T-Lara. You have 6 hours before the Creel are likely to take action. As Mary began her work, analyzing the equations through the lens of human musical theory, Saren returned to the bridge. The standoff around the vault continued, with diplomatic channels filled with increasingly hostile exchanges. Commander Thraz is demanding we withdraw, Lieutenant Krex reported. He claims the Creel have sovereign rights to the vault under the Ancient Technologies Clause of the Union Treaty. A convenient interpretation, Saren remarked dryly. Inform Commander Thraz that the clause applies only to technologies created by species who were signatories to the treaty. As humans were extinct long before the treaty was drafted, their technology falls under general heritage protocols. Legal maneuvering would buy them time, but not much. The Creel were notoriously impatient, and their dimensional resonance cannon was now fully deployed, its energy signature growing stronger by the hour. 5 hours later, Mary contacted the bridge. Commander, we've made a breakthrough. You need to see this. In the science lab, Mary stood before a holographic display that now showed not just the original equations, but a complex overlay of musical notations, color patterns, and what appeared to be fragments of human language. The equations weren't the test, she explained, her eyes bright with excitement. They were the key to understanding the communication system. The vault doesn't want us to solve the math. It wants us to respond in kind, to show we understand how humans communicated. And how do we do that? Saren asked. Mary gestured to a composition she had created, a blend of mathematical formulas, musical notations, and visual patterns. We send this. It's a response that shows we understand the interconnected nature of human thought, how they blended science, art, and emotion. Saren studied the composition. It made little sense to her Linthian mind, but she trusted Mary's expertise. Proceed. The response was transmitted to the vault. For several tense minutes, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the vault's surface began to change. The previously mirror-like exterior became translucent, revealing glimpses of intricate machinery within. New patterns formed on its surface, more complex than before. It's accepting our response, Mary whispered in awe. It's opening a dialogue. The new patterns projected into space formed not equations this time, but images, scenes from Earth's history, moments of human triumph and tragedy, scientific breakthroughs, and artistic masterpieces. The images flashed by too quickly for conscious processing, but Mary's engineered brain caught glimpses, connections. It's testing our empathy, she realized. Our ability to understand human experiences. A strange test, Lieutenant Krex commented. What does empathy have to do with accessing technology? Everything, for humans, Mary replied. They believed that advanced technology without empathy would lead to destruction. They valued emotional intelligence as much as scientific knowledge. Before they could discuss further, an alarm sounded. The Creel are powering their dimensional resonance cannon. Lieutenant Krex reported urgently. They're targeting the vault. Saren's mind raced. Direct intervention would violate Union protocols. Diplomatic appeals would take too long. There was only one option. Dr. Nevin, can you communicate with the vault? Warn it. Mary nodded, her fingers already dancing across the interface. She composed a new message, a blend of mathematics, music, and emotion that conveyed urgency, danger, protection. As the message transmitted, the Creole weapon fired. A beam of distorted space-time reached out toward the vault, bending light around it. But before it could make contact, the vault's surface shifted again, this time becoming completely transparent. The Creole weapon's energy passed through it harmlessly, as if the vault existed in a different dimensional phase. Remarkable, Tilara breathed. It changed its physical properties in response to the threat. The vault pulsed with new energy, projecting not just images now, but a fully immersive holographic environment that enveloped the Horizon's bridge. The crew found themselves surrounded by what appeared to be a human laboratory, filled with technology both familiar and utterly alien. In the center stood a holographic figure, a human woman in simple clothing, her features a perfect blend of all human ethnicities, as if designed to represent the entire species. "Greetings," the figure spoke, her voice melodious and clear. "You have passed the initial tests of understanding. I am Guardian, the interface for this repository of human knowledge." Saren stepped forward. "I am Commander Sarenvols of the Galactic exploration vessel Horizon, representing the Galactic Union." The Guardian studied her with holographic eyes that somehow conveyed deep intelligence. "You are not human, yet you understand human thought patterns. How is this possible?" Mary stepped forward. "I am Dr. Mary Nevin, a genetic hybrid with human ancestry. I have studied human culture and cognition." The Guardian turned to her with evident interest. "Genetic preservation. An unexpected development. This suggests humanity found ways to continue their legacy even as their pure form became extinct." "What is this vault?" Saren asked. "Why was it created?" "This is not merely a vault," the Guardian explained. "It is a seed, a repository of all human knowledge, technology, and culture, preserved for a future where it might flourish again. It was created in the final days of human civilization, when they realized their species, in its pure form, would not survive the coming crisis." "What crisis?" Merrick asked. "The transformation," the Guardian replied. "Humans reached a technological singularity that offered them a choice: remain as they were and face extinction, or transcend their physical form and become something else entirely. Most chose transcendence, becoming energy beings that left known space to explore dimensions beyond your comprehension. A small faction chose to preserve their original legacy, their history, their science, their art, in repositories like this one, scattered throughout the galaxy." "Why test us?" Saren inquired. "Why not simply share this knowledge?" "Because power without wisdom leads to destruction," the Guardian stated simply. "Humans learned this lesson at great cost. The knowledge contained here could elevate your civilization to heights you cannot imagine, or destroy it completely. The tests were designed to ensure you possessed not just intelligence, but understanding, empathy, creativity, the essential qualities humans valued most." The Guardian gestured, and a holographic laboratory expanded, revealing vast archives of information. "You have proven worthy of the first level of access. As you demonstrate your ability to use this knowledge responsibly, more will be revealed." Outside the Horizon, the other ships watched in astonishment as the vault's surface became fully transparent, revealing a structure of impossible complexity within. The Creole warship, its weapon rendered useless, withdrew to a safe distance. "What happens now?" Mary asked the Guardian. "That depends on you," the hologram replied. "This repository contains the seeds of technologies humans were only beginning to develop: clean energy beyond your current understanding, medical advances that could extend life indefinitely, transportation methods that would make your current faster-than-light travel seem primitive. But it also contains humanity's wisdom about how such technology should be used, the ethical frameworks they developed through bitter experience. Saren understood the magnitude of what they had discovered. This wasn't just an archaeological find. It was a turning point for galactic civilization. The Galactic Union will establish a research base here, she decided, with representatives from all member species working together to study and implement this knowledge responsibly. The Guardian nodded approvingly. A wise approach. Collaboration was always humanity's greatest strength when they chose to embrace it. In the days that followed, the news spread throughout the galaxy. The discovery of the human vault, one of many, as they would later learn, changed everything. Species that had viewed humans as little more than a historical footnote now studied their philosophy, their art, their unique way of thinking. Dr. Mary Nevin became the head of the new Human Legacy Institute, dedicated to understanding and implementing the vault's knowledge. Under her guidance, the first human technologies were carefully integrated into galactic society, beginning with medical advances that saved billions of lives across dozens of worlds. The Creel, initially resistant, eventually joined the collaborative effort after witnessing the benefits of the human medical technology on their own population. Even they could not deny the value of what humanity had left behind. Commander Saren often visited the Vault Station, watching as researchers from across the galaxy worked together to unlock its secrets. During one such visit, she found Mary standing alone before the Guardian hologram, deep in conversation. "Is it possible," Mary was asking, "that they might return someday? The humans who transcended?" "It is unknown," the Guardian replied. "They evolved beyond the constraints of space and time as you understand them. But they left these vaults as bridges, both to preserve what they were and to prepare for what might be." Saren joined them, pondering the implications. So this vault isn't just a museum of what humanity was. It's a foundation for what the galaxy might become. Precisely, the Guardian confirmed. Humans always looked forward, even at the end. They didn't see extinction. They saw transformation, evolution, new beginnings. As Saren gazed at the vast archives of human knowledge still waiting to be explored, she reflected on the irony. The species that many had dismissed as primitive had created a legacy that would shape the galaxy for millennia to come. And they had ensured that this legacy would be accessed not by those with the most powerful weapons or the most advanced technology, but by those who understood what humans valued most, the blend of intelligence and empathy that had made them unique among the stars. "They were wiser than we knew," she murmured. "They were human," Mary replied simply, "with all the flaws and greatness that entailed." Outside the Vault Station, ships from across the galaxy continued to arrive, drawn by the promise of ancient wisdom and new beginnings. The human vault had opened, not to conquerors or exploiters, but to worthy inheritors of a legacy left by a species that had looked to the stars and seen not just new worlds to explore, but new ways to exist.